Greetings YouTube neighbors. So today we're doing a review on the flip down windshield. So obviously this is a Pioneer 500, but this flip down design really isn't unique to this machine. Every machine you can buy something fairly equivalent to this. The reason I went with a split windshield basically is because I like the air flowing on my face. So this one is a really simple one I just got off Amazon. The actual joint is right there. It doesn't impact visibility, and neither does this, where the two basically meet. So there's really three parts to this windshield. There's the bottom piece, which doesn't move. It also doesn't inhibit the hood. I can still take the hood off, that's all fine. And you can tell it's really well mounted just as it is. I'm grabbing it, shaking the whole machine. And then there's this piece, and then the top piece. So the only piece that moves is this big middle piece. So mine is a Velcro attachment. You basically undo these straps. You can flip them out. Installation I did 99% by myself. It doesn't take that much. It's pretty simple and self-explanatory. And actually this company on Amazon has a really good how-to guide. And you flip it down, and then you take these same straps and you flip them around the roll bar. And then that's what keeps it down. So they send you these little stickies to basically protect your hood so the windshield isn't rubbing on your hood, rubbing something off. Now what I'll tell you is they come with good glue. It really sticks on, but you notice how it's sitting on a peak. So really there's not a good attachment below. So these things do fall off. I've already had one fall off. I'm sure it's gonna happen again. So this is kind of the bottom line up front with this windshield is honestly, I don't recommend it. It's nothing against the company who made this. It's just the general design of it sitting back forward on your hood is not a good idea. The other part of this is if you're ever in a muddy situation, a couple things happen. Maybe you start with the windshield up and it gathers mud, or you started with it down, it's gonna gather mud just like this. A lot of mud ends up sitting right on here, so then when you flip it up, it's going to be full of mud for you. You're going to have to clean off both sides of the windshield because it isn't really out of the way. Another thing with this one is they want you to store it in the down position, and if you're like me, after a day of going around having fun, probably the last thing you think about is I better go put the windshield back down, or so it can travel safely in the car and go highway speeds, because it needs to travel like this. When you're in travel mode, you know, the natural wind is pushing it down so you don't get a rattle. But another thing I want to show you is when it's in the up position, there's a little hole drilled into here and on this top piece. And what ends up needs to happen is you have this little, it's just a little piece of rubberized steel that you need to bind the two together. And the reason is there's not enough support right here that when you're driving it begins to really rattle. So we're going to get ready for a quick ride. I'm going to flip this thing back up and then I'm going to take you for a ride and show you. All right, so here you can kind of see the gap on this thing, and even just with the machine idling, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but this thing is already vibrating. So there's a tiny gap here, and I have driven this through the rain. It's not a big deal. It actually does a really good job of keeping the water off of you. I'm not sure if this got installed the way they wanted it, but with the roof I had, this was the only way it would fit in. It does make sense with how these two are connected that this is how it was intended to be, but I just wanted to caveat that I'm not convinced about that. So we're going to get up to speed and I'm going to show you how this starts to react. moving. It's not making an audible vibrate noise because these clamps on the sides are doing what they need to. There's just not enough support here. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hop out real quick. I'm going to tie this thing in and show you the difference. Obviously, compared to some of the nicer tip-up versions of a windshield, you can do it quickly from inside the vehicle while you're still moving. Where this one absolutely cannot. You cannot do this while the vehicle's still moving. You are going to need to stop to adjust it, which I don't know that anybody really wants to do. I think it's worth the extra little bit you're gonna pay just for a nicer one, basically on gas struts that pops up. So we've got that tied now, and we're gonna flip around and get back up to speed. Definitely not a big fan of this system. Again, it's not a knock on the manufacturer. I think this is probably as best you're going to get, but it's not just not a very good system. It needs to be a little bit higher quality, and the design needs to be a little bit different. So I actually am looking at getting rid of this machine and upgrading to a Pioneer 1000 with the 5-seater for the family. But I wanted to do a quick video on this just because, you know, this is something I didn't really think about a lot, and now I'm wishing I would have a little bit. Maybe I would have liked this machine a little better if I would have. But on the next machine, I am for sure getting a pop-up on hydraulics one. It'll have a single attach. I believe it's from Super ATV. So, all right, until next time.